Once upon a time, I could not get enough sex. Now I can't seem to get enough sleep. Why is that? Well, on this episode of Horny to Hot Flashes, we're going to talk about why we're seeking out hormone pellets and more sleep. What is the raw truth? What happens when hot flashes replace hot nights? I would like to introduce my guests today. To my right is my friend and my actual manager of my clinic, the Injectory, Paula Butt. Welcome, Paula.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, welcome. And of course, to my left is Kristen, fellow volleyball mom, and she works with me at the Injectory. Welcome, Kristen.
Hello.
And finally, Jen, just Jen. No, I'm kidding. Hi. This is Jen, a friend, co-friend, random person who walked in from outside.
Hi.
Hi.
Nice to meet you.
Welcome.
She's great.
She's great. So we, of course, want to talk about, how, for me, in my teen years, I couldn't get enough of the dick. Now, in my 40s, I love my husband. I want to be with him. I want to hang out with him. But that's not the part I'm interested in most in. And, of course, I wanted to bring in fellow women and get their take. Like, is this a Bobby Joe problem or is this a woman perspective? So, Paula, you're not the oldest here. So what did
We're not going to talk about that. But no, I agree. When my husband and I first got together, which he was my first.
Lies.
Of course, we were like in our honeymoon phase and we had sex all over the place and all the time. Now we are grandparents and we still have an active sex life, but it definitely is toned down. It's not as robust as it used to be. But at the same time, I think we aged accordingly to that. So his is on the same level as what I am. Oh. So it's not that I'm depriving him or anything. I just think that we just kind of aged gracefully when it came to our sex life.
Yeah. But you're still having sex.
We're still having sex.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
How many years have you guys been married?
35.
Wow.
Yeah.
Right.
And I'm considered newlywed compared to Jen over here.
Jen, how long have you been married?
It'll be 36 in May. So
Yeah, but you guys were together since you were
we were
teenagers.
together since 1984.
Yeah, so 1984 is when I graduated high school.
Me too.
That
Yeah.
was the year I was born.
Shut up.
That's not true.
That was rude.
I'm older than that. That was rude. I'm older than that. I'm kidding. I am older than that. Now, your husband is actually your second husband.
Yes, this second marriage for both of us. We have 5 kids between us. He has 2 adult children, and then we have twins as well, and a younger number 5 who was a complete surprise. Like,
Yeah, she required
Complete-
some assistance to get pregnant with her twins, and then
when my twins were 9 months old, I got pregnant
we
again.
should just call you Mary.
Wow.
Oh, no, I mean, I know what happened. He traveled a lot at the time.
Oh, we all know what happened.
And I shaved my legs, and there we were.
So, but in summary, if you shave your legs, you can get pregnant.
That's apparently it. And by the way, breastfeeding will not save you.
No, we did find that out with my daughter, too.
Yeah, exactly. So you guys, how long have you guys been married for?
18 years.
Okay.
And our kids range from 14 to 24. And, obviously, yes, in the beginning, things were much more hot and heavy. Like, I remember wanting it all the time. And now, as we discussed, like, I love my husband. He is my best friend. Like, I want to do everything with him. I would rather spend time with him than most people, kids included sometimes, because they're going to leave me one day. He's sticking around.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, unfortunately, they don't go far, do they?
so, but I really enjoy spending time with him. But right now, like, I have started the journey of menopause at the ripe old age of 47. Like, it's great. So it's been a little bit of a rougher road these last couple of months to year. So
Gotcha. Yeah. So have you officially been diagnosed as in menopause?
yes,
Okay.
which I have started hormone therapy that has improved my symptoms, but has not as of yet improved my libido.
Yeah. Well, so you were kind of mentioning that you thought maybe it might be like where your head's at, like where your place in life is. Because I would agree, like when we first had our children were so all encompassing. I have twins. My husband and I both work full time. I would say that there was definitely like a down, like, let's not make any more of these.
Well,
let's
you're
avoid.
exhausted too.
Yeah.
You're tired.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now, for reasons I can't quite explain, I run 2 businesses. I work full time. My daughters are very active in school, different activities. My husband still works full time. But I feel like he wants me and I want him, but I don't always want sex. Like, I feel like I compare
The
sex right
connection.
now to going to the gym. So I'm like, ugh, God, I don't want to go. Ugh. And then I go and I'm so glad I went.
Right.
And
That's how I feel right now
yeah,
too.
that's
Yeah.
how I feel
Yeah, I
about
could
this
see
about
that.
sex. Like, I feel like, ugh, I don't want to. And then, of course, like a minute, I'm like, oh, all right, this is actually
Pretty
I
good.
don't know why I complained.
And just like at the gym, I don't always have to wipe down the equipment. So that's a little bit easier now. I'm just like,
Just to kind of continue that like thought and vibe, and obviously 36 years, we have briefly talked about this before. For you, you actually feel like you weren't as horny in your teenage years. That you actually kind of found a different perspective kind of later in life.
was it because Bob was ugly? Just asking. I mean,
Yeah, did he age into a sexiness?
Paula, I love you.
I think when I was younger, I was molested. So I think that kind of put a damper on things.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And I had to work through that.
Yeah.
So from like 8 to 10, that happened. And then you had to work through it. And then, so like, I wasn't like craving it, wanting it.
Right. You
When I
probably
was-
associated it with negative.
Yeah, it just was
Yeah.
yuck.
Yeah.
It was yuck.
And it took you probably building that sense of like comfort and trust with your
And
husband.
trust.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
to
it
finally get a
just-
place where you're like, oh wait, this is actually
Wait, this is okay. It's okay
yeah.
to want this.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't.
Right.
And so I think through teenage years, when you think you're going to be wanting it, no, I did not.
Yeah.
And then once I met my husband, we started dating. It's
Yeah.
probably gotten in the last 10 years. It's like, I want that now.
Was there an aha moment for you in your marriage in which you felt like sex was a safe space and not something that was abusive?
I don't ever think that it was like, I didn't think, oh no, I've already done that. I can't do that. Or I'm not doing that. It was pushed down. Like, I didn't know until I had my son. And then it was kind of like, oh, that's why I don't like that or that. So I was, 25 when I had him. And it was kind of like then.
how long had you been married by that time?
3 years.
3 years.
And then I was starting to deal with it a little bit on the forefront. Like, I knew that it had happened, and I knew that's what I was thinking and what I was feeling, but I didn't really, I don't know the correct words,
No, that's perfect.
but it was certain things just made me feel icky,
Yeah.
and I didn't know why. And it took me probably until, oh goodness, I don't even know when it was like, no, it's okay. Sex is good. Sex is fun. And I'm safe.
Right.
But even to this day, there are things like absolutely no,
Yeah.
because it just takes me.
Right.
Yeah.
Even thinking about it takes me. And I want to say probably 40s.
Wow. Okay.
What a perfect man you found, though, because I know her husband, and he just, now I'm going to get a little teary-eyed.
Yeah, no,
He idolizes you.
and I'm high maintenance.
Oh, my gosh, are you high
I
maintenance?
wasn't going to mention it.
Yeah, not gonna lie, I'm high maintenance.
I
But-
mean, regarding high maintenance, I think that the truth is that I don't feel like you're high maintenance. I think you know exactly what you want. I think you kind of like, you know what you want,
And there's
right?
nothing
And
wrong
what
with
you don't
that.
want.
There's nothing
And what
wrong.
you don't
yeah,
want.
And what you
exactly
don't
what
want,
you don't
yeah.
want. And there's nothing wrong with that because
Yeah.
that's very clear boundaries. That's very clear communication about who you are and what you want. Like that doesn't make you high maintenance. And even if you were high maintenance, like good for you. You're the one maintaining it. You're the one doing it.
But like, I don't think the horny thing.
We can't send her anywhere where she has to make a left-hand turn because she cannot.
fair.
She will not turn left.
I will if there's a light.
Wait, what? That's like,
when she's driving. So she is a little high maintenance. So we have to
I know
give
what
her
I like and what I don't like. And I don't like left turns without a light.
that's hilarious.
But, as far as the horny through teenage years, through 20s, I think that was kind of, I don't want to say
Different for
ruined, but it
your-
was different. It was
Yeah.
different. And then once I started to feel like, okay, this is fun, this is good.
Yeah.
But then once you hit the 50s, I was like, this is a good time.
I think
It was
my
all
libido
different.
was the
So maybe-
highest when I was pregnant. When I
Yes!
was pregnant.
Yes.
Oh my,
God. Gary would
Wow.
walk through the door and he
Yeah.
is just not a loving, affectionate person, but he would walk in the door and he'd be like, okay, we're on. We got it.
Wait, so did he just find you attractive when you were pregnant? Is
I
that what
found
you
him
mean?
more attractive when I was pregnant because he can be kind of, to him grabbing my tit is a sign of
No, that's
foreplay.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that to me is not, that
No.
doesn't do
Doesn't
it
do
for
it
me.
for you.
Yeah.
And sometimes I would be like, are my tits not even hooked up? Because this does nothing for me.
Yeah.
But for him, I could be unloading the dishwasher and he just come. Now, of course, like we talked about earlier, he's grabbing a lot lower now that I'm in almost 60. He's like down by my knees grabbing, but yeah, he still is a
He doesn't
tick
care
guy.
where he's grabbing.
He doesn't care. I'm like, no,
Well,
that's my cankle. That's
I
not my
always-
nipple.
I always assumed that my husband was a butt man because I didn't always have huge tatas. And then when I was pregnant, but my breasts were huge and he was obsessed with them. And I literally said to him, I thought you're a butt man. And he said, no, all men are boob men. Either way, I feel like he was compensating for a girl with a booty and lack of it. Now, since then I've bought them because of course, one, they look good. They also were heading toward my knees, and I was like,
Yeah,
"Screw
the
that
sagging
noise."
is not a turn on.
It is
No,
not.
Well,
except
that
for
men often don't understand that. So the reason I kind of want to talk about why we, kind of embrace sex and embraced ourselves, embraced our sexuality, is because I ironically just had this conversation with my daughters. I was basically telling my daughters you need to own your when it comes to time, you need to own that sexual encounter. You are as much responsible. And I told them, I was like, most orgasms don't happen from penetration. Most of them happen from actual being stimulated by the clitoris. And of course, my daughter was like, something about the cervix lifting up, right,
I'm
Mom?
so glad I don't have a girl.
oh my God. Yeah.
Well, you do have a girl.
I'm just saying.
She's made 4
I'm
children.
just looking at her and I'm like,
Yeah.
you are so lucky.
But overall, I would say that at some point, in my sexual encounters with my husband, I noticed if I gave him the reassuring
Yeah.
woo, right?
True.
They would kind of be like, oh, she likes that, and then
That's-
of course
that's good.
and I've learned since
So
then
that's your Harry
yeah,
met Sally.
yes
metaphor
that was
type
just
of
all I
thing?
could give.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I'll
Look
have
how
what she's
it-
having. But and then when he wanders away, you just be like, let them know. That's how my sexual, I feel starting to kind of communicate with my partner, kind of, and of course I'd be more. I mean, obviously there's obvious encounters. So for me, I feel like it's been progressive. My husband figured out what I liked and he started doing more of it. And so for me, my sexuality and my desire and me getting my release, it's also important to my husband. Sometimes he almost forces me no, I want you to get yours. And I'm like, okay, I guess I have to.
But since you've been with him since you were a teenager,
I was a teenager, yeah.
and now you aren't a teenager, and I see what you're saying, how your evolution has happened. Do you feel like you guys have been on the same path,
No.
or do you think one progressed a little bit quicker than the other?
I feel like my husband's sex drive has rarely changed. I would say that about a year ago, I did think that his sex drive kind of started to descend, and I encouraged him to get hormone therapy, and he has since then gotten his testosterone tested and gotten hormone pellets, but now he's back up there. And again, I'm here just trying to get by. I did also get testosterone therapy. I'm actually overdue for my next. It has made a big difference. It's improved my desire to have sex. However, I still feel like he's out performing me. There was a time in which I couldn't get enough of it, but I'm telling you now, if I could never have sex again, just I've told some of my closest girlfriends, if our husbands die before we do. We're going to move in together, drink wine, and fold laundry. Like, that's going to be our lives. Like, we're just going to coexist because we don't want the sex. We don't need the sex, but our husbands demand it. But
Do you really think you don't want the sex, or you're just kind of, I don't want to say tired, but like there's other stuff taking your mind space?
I would say yes in some ways, but I really can't explain it because I generally look at my husband and I'm like, baby, you look good today. Like my husband, oh, he does it for me. I mean, he does. My husband's
awesome.
funny. I mean, like, you know, I would say he's not lacking in the, you know, what matters to men department. He wants to satisfy me. He like acts like I'm the sexiest person in the world. 28 years he has been looking at this. And he still acts like, so there's no reason for me not to want to have sex with him. However,
I think we get in ruts.
maybe.
Sometimes we get lazy.
Well, it's been a
We
long
get
run.
lazy.
I get lazy.
They're
I
not going
always
to go
get
anywhere.
lazy.
Well,
so
I
you get
mean,
lazy.
no,
And
we
there's
still
so
have
much that
we still have
occupies
sex,
your
but
mind.
it's
Right.
Well, and I was telling my daughter the other day because her husband just found out that he has to have a CPAP. And I'm like thinking, you think about a CPAP as something for an older person. You just do. I mean, at least I do. I don't think of a 30-year-old needing it. But anyway, I told her, I said, well, do me a favor. Make sure if you are in the mood, you let him know before he crawls in bed and puts that CPAP on. Because there is nothing worse than when I'm in the shower and I'm like, oh, it's hitting me. It's time.
Yeah.
I'm going to go in and I'm going to get some. And I walk in and there he lays. And I'm like going, never mind.
See-
Just never mind. But that's,
see, and I'll be honest with you, I would rush in and like rip that bitch off and be like, yes.
yeah. And see,
See, the last thing I want before I go to bed is that.
well,
Yeah,
you just
I'm
said
tired.
though
'Cause it's a
earlier,
mess.
but you said also earlier,
See,
you're
I
not a
prefer the
morning
nighttime.
person.
Yeah, so when are you having sex? If you're not a morning person, you're
I'm
not a night
retired.
person. Oh,
I can have it whenever
so you're
I
a
want.
nooner. She's a nooner. Yeah.
I like it. Yeah, I like it in the day. I don't want first thing in the morning. That's disgusting. You got bed crud and
No,
butt
see, I
crust
like
and
morning sex.
no, ugh, breath and
Yeah.
your hair's all.
Gotta
I don't
take
wanna-
your night guard out.
Absolutely, I got a retainer and a night guard.
So here's the thing. I do want to ask you. I guess I'll do it now. So Kristen, because you've had 2 marriages, again, I don't know the terms of your first marriage, but with your first marriage, obviously it has since dissolved. Did your sex life kind of go through a decline in that marriage, or was it a sudden departure?
No, things were fine until he went on deployment, and then I found out there were problems within that I didn't know about, things that came to light that I didn't know. So there was never a decline in any of that until I discovered there were issues.
Gotcha.
But
How long were you married to your first husband?
I got married pretty young. I was 22, and we were only married for about 2.5 years.
Oh, okay. No children.
No children, thankfully, nope. But so then, and then there was a period of time where I was single. And I never went away to college. We met when I was pretty young and got married. So I never had those years where I got to go out and do all the things that a lot of people that I really want my kids to experience. So and I was very quiet. I was a very reserved, shy person until I had to start waitressing to earn my keep, and became much more outspoken. And to tell my husband how I was back then, he was like, I could never imagine you not standing up for yourself and telling somebody what you are and are not going to do.
So what was the shift for you then, if you were able to advocate for yourself?
I became a cocktail waitress.
Oh,
and you have to hold your own.
Yeah.
In a bar full of men who want to grab your ass and your tits as you walk by, and you have to stand up for yourself because there's so many of them. And so that was how I kind of learned to do that, and it crossed over into every aspect of my life after that. Yeah.
So it was just tried and true. For you, it was an evolution for sure.
Oh,
you
yeah.
were put in a situation, you either
Right.
shit or get off the pot.
So I was before I went into nursing, I was a dental assistant, and the dentist who had been my dentist growing up, he would say something to me and I'd just be like, can you imagine that now?
No.
No, because I can't get you to shut up in the clinic now. So, just kidding. Not
I mean, I
really.
would definitely say I feel like you're quiet. I mean, obviously you're quieter than I am.
Yeah. Everybody's quieter
Than
than
you
you
are,
are,
yeah.
honey.
I don't
Except
think
for
I
you.
am.
Oh, except
Except
me.
for Paula.
I don't think I am.
You're quieter than me.
No.
No, Jen's not quieter than
No.
you. She is in this platform, but
I am trying so hard not to interrupt because that's just what I do.
I see her over there going, oh,
I'm like a sit back and observe and see how things are going to go, and I'm going to determine how I'm going to respond to it.
Yeah.
And that's the way I've lived my life.
Did you see me shake my glass at you?
I truly, marriage was not an option as far as a failure to me. I had 2 beautiful kids. I had a husband that was gone all the time, of course, on deployment and everything. And I look back now and I see opportunities that I am so grateful for. So I applaud all of you that have been able to take that part of a special part of your life that you thought was going to be forever, and then you were able to say, it's obviously not my forever. And now you've been married for as long as you've been married. And so kudos to you, because I just don't know.
That was so a bartender pour. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I just don't know how that would have equated in my life. I put up with a lot. I went through a lot. We were very rocky for a long time. And I applaud somebody that can start over and say, no, I'm taking ownership of this, and damn it, I'm going to get mine and I'm going to be happy. And I hear you talk about your husband, and I know you're a happy married couple. I love that for you. I really do.
So, how old were you when you married?
23.
Okay, and you were
22.
22. And how old were you in your first marriage?
22.
And then how old were you with your second marriage?
30.
30. Okay.
Okay, how long did you date Bob before you got married?
5 years?
How long did
okay.
you
6
make?
years?
How long did you date your first husband before you got married?
Probably 2.5, 3 years. And actually, I think I was not 30. I was younger than that because we've been married for 18 years.
And
so-
Jose, you were with Mark.
So, ironically, you waited till you were 22. I actually met my husband when I was 15. He was 17. We were together for 3 years before we got married. And so he literally is my high school sweetheart, and I got married right out of high school. Now, you were saying how you didn't get to do the college things. I didn't either. I married my husband. I moved to England. That's why I married him. In my family, you don't get to go live with your boyfriend. So I had to marry him to move to England. And as a 17-year-old, the time when he proposed to me, the idea of, getting married and moving to England, that sounds like a great idea. So you were saying rocky. I often tell people, like, I would say up until maybe like 7-8 years ago, I was very anti like young people getting married because my husband hurt me and I hurt my husband a lot growing up together. So I would say that there are aspects, again, like you talked about your things you didn't want to talk about. I did cheat on my husband when I was 20. It's probably the greatest shame of my life. And I would say probably for 8 to 12 years, I had to accept that my husband's insecurities were my fault. So we're talking about like getting choked up. Like, we are only married today because he is obsessed with me, because he is committed to our marriage. And then besides that, then in college, I did go through a phase where I felt like we were in different trajectories, and we made a decision. I'm saying we. I actually moved out no kids. We didn't have kids for 10 years. Well, almost 11 years. I made the decision to move out of my house and leave my husband. Devastating for him. And this was happening around Thanksgiving. So I spent Thanksgiving and Christmas by myself, no family. And then he continued to insist on dating me. I refused to have sex with him. I didn't want to mislead him until about May. And then we spent the weekend together because, again, he would come. I was in college, busy Monday through Friday. Spent the weekend together, and I missed him. I went back to college, and I missed him. And it was in that moment that I knew that I had a choice. I either stayed with my husband, but if I did, that was it. We were done. None of this like unsure bullshit.
You had to commit to it.
Yeah, because this person has stood by me. Now, if he had like just been like, F this noise.
Do you think obsessed is the right word? Or do
Well,
you think
I joke about it.
He loves you
He
and is
loves
committed
her.
to you.
No, he does love me.
And he's
but
committed to you, and
yes,
he's in
but
love
how
with
many
you.
people have loved other people? How many people have loved each other?
But-
So many people have loved each other. But my husband like is obsessed with me. So I joke that he has like an addictive personality. Like he was a previous smoker. Like he's probably like, alcohol and him are friends. Gambling, like he got into that for a while. Like my husband has a very like all in or nothing personality, which has benefited me because I've been married for 25 years. I've been together for 28. I've put him through some crap. The first 2 years of our marriage, I would say that, I put him through
Well,
some
you were
crap.
17.
I know.
I mean,
I
the
married
first
my
couple years of
husband.
marriage are hard.
So
Period.
hard, yeah.
Exactly.
But I mean, I think that's the thing that
everybody
you
thinks it's
go
gonna be
through
fairy tale, and
right.
it's not.
same thing with kids, which is
Yes.
it's another episode we'll get into. Marriage is work. We were joking
Oh.
about blow jobs. It is a job. Like my jaw cannot handle that shit anymore. But
it's
PP
PP
sucks.
PB sucks. Sorry.
We do not call them blowjobs. They are PP sucks.
No, PP sucks is not painful. It hurts my jaw. So moving on, in general, marriage is work. So this idea that relationships aren't work, if both parties are committed to each other, which my husband and I have intermittently been, thankfully, when the other one has wavered, one of us has always stood true to it. And at the end of the day, now 25 years into the marriage, if I had given up on my husband or if my husband had given up on me in the times of hardships, absolutely it would have been an end of our marriage. So I will tell you that peaks are as high as troughs are as high as peaks. And thank God that I have stayed in this marriage because I'm happier now than I've ever been. And I would say that right now in my life, besides some like other bullshit that happens, like the white noise of like other people's issues, my life in itself, I'm the happiest I've ever been. I would like to have more sex, which is the primary goal of this podcast. But I would say that at the end of the day, whether I have sex with my husband once a month, once a day, once a year, he's my partner. But I would like, because I care about him and cares about me, I would like to have sex with him more because I know
you want to have sex.
I want to have. I mean, I do have sex with him,
Right.
And I'm like I said, it's like going to the gym. I'm very happy I did it, but I wish that hormonal shift, whatever is happening in this phase of my life, wasn't such a damper.
I actually apologized to my husband recently because I was like, I used to be the aggressor. Like I was the nighttime person. He was the morning person. So like, and I go to bed, like I'm more of a night owl. I worked night shift for years. And like, I would crawl in bed and be like, like, and that would
I
kind
love that. I'm going to try that tonight.
Before the CPAP.
Before the CPAP.
and
No, rip it off. Rip it off. Make it like you're ripping your shirt off.
And so I was like, I hope you don't feel that I'm not attracted to you anymore because I know that I have definitely backed off like what I used to be with how much sex I used to like. And now you've become the one who is initiating, not the aggressor, I guess. But
No, like
Well, no,
sometimes I think I was a little aggressive. He's not aggressive.
I think my husband would love it if I'd be more aggressive because sometimes he'll say to me, and I've always been kind of not the shy one because I'm not shy with him, but I've always been kind of, unless I have too many Chardonnays in me, I've always been the one that just kind of sits back and lets him take control. And I think that it would probably be beneficial to me if I was a little bit more aggressive. So no, good for you for being the aggressive one.
Yeah.
I think as
Well-
women, we just kind of sip. Now I say that as women because I'm old school. You know, I knew my husband for 3 months before we got married.
She knew.
And
when you know, you
well, yeah, but
Actually, her story is really funny, but
that'll be another podcast. But you know, so when we first got together, we were just like animals on top of each other because we hadn't gone through that dating period. We went from, hey, you want to go out, to hey, yeah,
Wanna get married?
now let's get married. Yeah. And then on my first year anniversary, I was pregnant with my daughter. And so we never had that time to explore and do things because then now he's deployed and I've got a baby and you know all these things
preemie
go
too.
into. So I thought we've got plenty of time when our kids are grown. We've got plenty of time to do that. Well, then other things come in, like you said, white noise comes in. My job, I work stupid hours. My husband doesn't because he's a civil service. He does nothing.
GS.
Well, I had one of those jobs.
But you know what? But I'm just saying it. You think that your next phase of life is going to be better than the old phase of life. Now, if I could go back to that, because
You would have had more sex?
I would have had more sex because I could just kind of thought we always had time, and we do. We still have time, and we still have this, and we still have
You
that.
need to go home and have some sex.
Gary, call me.
So I'm sitting here and I'm listening to you, and I am spoiled rotten.
You are
Well, we
spoiled.
try to
I have
tell
and
you
you have
said
told me that, and I'm
I
like,
have told you
well,
that
you
for
go to work
years.
and you work all night, and your jobs are insane. Then
Thank
you've got
you.
kids, and you've got 5 kids between you, and
Yeah, you're spoiled rotten, and I've
Yeah.
told you that. So when you say I'm not high maintenance,
oh, I am high maintenance.
You are.
I have always said I'm high maintenance.
Bobby Joe said you're not high maintenance.
Yeah, she
I
said
said
I
embrace
needed.
who you are. But I would say
Oh,
like
I absolutely embrace it.
Oh, okay.
Nobody else
her
does.
husband's
Nobody
on
else
board
does.
because he
Yeah.
stayed with her, so
Yeah,
he likes
exactly.
it too.
And
Yeah.
He likes
I
to
can't
take care of her,
imagine
apparently.
just listening to your background story, which I knew all along. I can't imagine a better partner for you than Bob.
Yeah.
I really can't. He is so patient and
Now.
and I didn't know him prior to
It's true.
how many years? I mean,
Well, in our earlier days, he wanted sex like, let's say 3 times a day. I mean, all the time. Insatiable.
you are kind of cute though. Unfortunately, I'm again old school. My son shared more
Oh
with me
my God, he
than
shared
I
way too
ever
much.
wanted to hear.
Way
And
too
I
much.
was amazed at these girls that would come around, and every one of the girls that would come around and do stupid shit, I was so glad that I was raising a daughter that didn't do that.
Wow.
I mean, he's very blessed now. He's got an amazing wife, and I'm very happy for him. But he went through a time. So I think when you say that, it's different for boys and girls.
Right.
Because I promise you, on everything I'm worth, my husband would not have put up with my daughter what he put
Oh,
up with my
absolutely
son.
not.
Yeah.
No, my husband
Yeah.
has 3 daughters and 2 sons, and there are very different rules
Yeah.
between both of
And
those
I would
camps.
I would try to advocate
Well-
for Megan. I'm like, you cannot be one or the other.
Yeah.
But now that
Well, this is why I want to do an episode on raising daughters and sons, and we probably should do the same panel. Because, of course, I'm only raising daughters. You've only raised sons, but you two have actually had both. And so we kind of talk about how, at the end of the day, as parents, with your son, you had one penis to worry about. I have all the penises to worry about.
times 2.
Times 2. Right. So when he found out it was girls, I'm not kidding you, he was like, please make them ugly. Please make them ugly. Like he was so.
He did not get his wish.
No.
Because they are
all.
gorgeous.
Yes. And he's always like he's hard in their outfits, their clothing. I wish that he saw them the way that I did and he understood them the way that I did, that they are not desperate for men, that they are not those girls.
And I'm
well, I mean, the truth is that my husband is actually, I would say, a very honorable man. I would say that my husband is a kinder person than most men. And he still says, I know what I was thinking
at that age.
at that age. So I
My
have
husband
to,
says the same thing to
yeah,
our
I
girls.
have to respect his perspective. so I understand why he's protective. It is tough. And my plan was that I was going to have very open conversations with my daughters, which I do, and that I was going to provide them both with vibrators, which I have not done. But I'll be honest with you, I'm actually still not against it, because I think owning our sexuality as women is actually one of the most powerful things that we can do. So years ago, back when I was young, we would go out with friends. My husband's Navy, and I basically was just a tag along. So it was all the guys and me. And I remember one of our friends saying to us that when women go out, they know if they're going to get laid. And if a man goes
you can
out,
decide whether or not you're going to get laid.
Exactly.
and when a man goes out, he is hoping he gets
Gets
laid.
laid.
And it was in that moment that I understood the power that we have as women. Now, again, men can force themselves on us, but better believe that I will be catching that shit in my hand and hauling it to the police station.
I just can't.
I'm sorry. But
She's
either
getting her daughter's
way,
vibrators and catching semen in her hand. I just can't.
It's
Like,
just
because,
we are too old for this
because
shit.
just-
We're just
so
too
not.
old.
me.
because the truth is, as women, we have so much power that we don't even appreciate the power we have. Men just want to get laid. And if you are hard to get, guess what? You are a challenge, and you are even like more they give them more
power.
interest. But based on what I'm seeing with my daughters, evidently, if you are strong, intelligent, and I don't know, because Paula, you said your daughter had the same issue, that men at her school, like
She did, because she was like, I don't. I mean, I'm looking
her
at
daughter is like, I would say, like her saying my daughter's gorgeous. Her daughter is gorgeous.
I would just look at her, and she would say things like, people don't want to talk to me. People don't want to, guys don't ask me out. And I said,
They're intimidated.
they were in my, but it's hard to explain that to a teenager. And she had plenty of friends, and she had all this, and she had a long-term boyfriend, but she would like, nobody wants to talk to me. Nobody will do this. Nobody will do that. And it just broke my heart for her, because her boyfriend in high school was somebody that I thought was funny, and he was sweet, but I also looked at him and said, please, dear God, don't marry my daughter. Please, dear God, don't marry my daughter. And thank God she grew out of that phase and everything. But
It took a long time, though.
it did take her a long time. And it is hard to watch them struggle. And you just know that the outcome is going to be perfect. And again, I don't mean to get religious or anything, but God has a plan for them, and I promise you, high school is not their plan.
That is not the plan.
right.
I mean,
Well, I
you
mean,
two
just
are
gotta get
very
through it.
unique
Yeah.
in the fact that you married a high school sweetheart, and that you have succeeded, and you've powered through it,
I was
and
gonna
you
say
made
power
it
through
work. Because I promise you, none of you are sitting back going, it just was a piece of cake.
no,
You
no.
powered through it, and
No,
you
it
made it work,
Yeah.
and you guys have been
It was
amazing
a
couples.
power job.
And both of us, I mean, I look at you guys, and you both have relationships that I find a piece of it that I envy.
Well,
You
thank
know,
you.
I do.
Yeah.
I applaud you both
Well, I
for
think,
it.
I think so. It's interesting. We were hanging out with Paula and Gary this past summer, and Gary was like, "I want beans," and Paula was like, "I'm gonna make beans," and I was like, "Oh, interesting."
Cowboy
because
beans?
I know Paula as the Paula I work with at work. Now she's she's way nicer to surgeons than I am. I call them out. I'm definitely I'm different than you, I guess, in some ways. But I was surprised because I honestly didn't actually appreciate that she really does assume more of a submissive role to your husband.
I
Absolutely.
do. And Gary and I
Yeah.
have a very kind of 50s relationship. I couldn't tell you right now what my bank account is. I don't know.
Yeah.
And Gary doesn't know where the laundry room is in my house. I mean, that's just our relationship.
But you're
And
like
I'm
that
like,
with
I
your
feel
kids
like
too. You're very maternal with your entire family.
I am very
Yeah.
maternal.
Very maternal.
I feel like I'm the dude in our relationship because my husband does all the laundry. He does a lot of the cooking. And I'm like, "Ugh, I have to feed the dogs." Like,
No, I mean, so Kristen, you and I are actually closer. You said you're 48. Oh, all right, whatever. We're still 80s babies. But so same thing. My husband does most of the cooking. Our daughters actually do the laundry, so we'll see what happens when they move out.
Said,
But in the same thread of my thoughts is that when I was at my absolute most confident, I could not get enough sex. So my confidence in myself equally related to my desire to have sex. Weirdly enough, I almost look better than I did at that age, except for my weird pregnancy belly. But my sex drive isn't
Twin
there.
skin is a real thing,
yes,
isn't
twin
it?
skin.
well, here's the
Frickin'
sad
check
part.
it out.
This is the hard part for me is with menopause hitting. It's hard to feel sexy when I have weight that I can't get off. I have skin that's drooping. I have hair in my hairbrush that would equate to the hair you find in a Golden Corral buffet. It's just
Take the wine.
so much.
Gonna get worse.
It's actually true.
It's hard to feel sexy when that's all happening. And so
But here's
for
the-
me to be judgmental and say I'm not turned on by my husband who has a CPAP and a chin strap and I come out and I'm half bald and my tits are dragging, it's hard because
But it's
I'm
not
trying
about
to,
what you
does-
look
but
like.
it's
It's about
all
what you
there.
want.
Does he care?
but it's not about, you're exactly right. He doesn't care.
No, but
What
you
about
just
you?
said
What do
Exactly.
you want?
I
the way
care.
that
But
you
at the end
felt
of the
made you
day-
feel
Right. Don't you agree that in being in aesthetic medicine as my other profession besides like sleeping patients, so many women come in and they're like, my husband, I have to hide this from my husband. If you feel the best about yourself, you feel sexier.
You're absolutely right. And so
How
it's
do
hard
you not
for me to
understand
be,
that? Buy the stupid row machine without the PB sucks. Pay for the plastic surgery to suck and tuck and trim. And as men, if you want to get the vagina, fucking pay for the surgeries or the procedures.
But for me,
Or the
if I
workout
want to have
equipment.
sex, it's because I want to have sex.
You just said you had to give 1,800 PP sucks.
No, she said that.
Oh.
She said to get my rower, which was
that's
not
actually not true. That's a false statement.
Yes, it's a joke. It's not
Oh.
true.
You actually didn't have to do that.
it's a Paulism.
it was
Yes.
5 PP sucks, but okay.
Did you have to give any PP
No,
sucks?
I don't have to do anything that I don't want to do. But
Alright.
if I want sex,
She can have it.
I don't feel like I have to look a certain way. Like I wanted sex the other day. I'm in sweats, no makeup, no hair. You know, it's like,
He
hey,
doesn't care.
do you want to fuck? And he's like, okay.
Yeah.
He was
Let's
sitting at the
fuck.
desk, and I was in the kitchen, and that's
Yeah.
how that happened. We went upstairs.
Yeah.
Had to lock the dog in the crate because she wanted to be between us.
God,
So
the dogs get in there worse than the kids.
So y'all know that I love to understand things to a fault. I will tell you that men are obsessed with the size of their dicks. We all can agree with that. So of course I Googled how much does a man actually need? So the average vagina is about 4 inches long, and it elongates with arousal. So our actual cervix will actually
body
tilt
does
up
that?
all the way. Yeah, that's why when you first start, you're like, ow.
That's why it
ow,
hurts.
Ow. And then once you're into it, like, harder, more, give it to me. Because
Oh.
our cervix tilts up by the way. Yeah.
Didn't know that.
Yeah. I love teaching this. Well, I would say that based on our conversations, whether you're horny, at whatever phase of your life you're at, whether you're somewhere in between, flashing, buying stock in KY Jelly Lube, we're here to say that it's all normal and it's all worth it. Based on our conversations today, I would love for each of you to give your take on, your anecdotes about this conversation today. Starting with you, Jen.
I'm spoiled.
You're spoiled.
And I'm taken away from this that I don't really feel like I have to look a certain way to feel confident in whether or not I'm going to get sex or want sex.
Yeah.
Because I want it when I want it. And it's up to me to make that all happen.
Yes. You are the owner of your sexuality
And
your
I
pleasure.
will tell
Yeah.
my husband in the middle, I'm using you right now. Because I know what makes everything work.
Yeah.
And
But-
he's like, I'm fine with that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah.
But at this point in your life, you know what you like. You know how to.
Well, I know
get
what
it,
I
and your-
need and what I want.
Right.
Yeah.
And your husband also is okay with it. Yeah. I mean, then that's great. But you haven't always been there.
No,
No.
absolutely not.
No.
Yeah. Yeah. Here comes 50. Give me 50. I want 50.
Well, and like I said, my son is
Here comes
30.
60.
My son will be 33 next month. So he's been out of the house. That's a game changer.
Yeah.
I'm retired. Son's out of the house.
But they come back. My kids came back twice.
Yeah, but they don't come back. He hasn't lived there.
No.
So like if we want
They come back though for.
to get busy at 1:30 in the afternoon, there's nothing stopping us. Because I can
true.
pause my soap opera.
Yeah.
Bobby Joe, can I
Do
have off
you-
at 1:30 tomorrow?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, see, that's what I'm saying. Like I'm spoiled
I'm
because
all about work, life, sex balance.
Yeah.
So, Kristen, what's your?
I think I'm hoping to look forward to this.
I know. Chan's like,
Getting close to 50, it could be exciting. But also, I do think I think the main thing is the takeaway is like ebbs and flows in your life and the whole life cycle. Also, that I maybe need some testosterone.
I'm
And
telling
kind
you,
of-
it was a big difference. Yeah.
See how that goes. But yeah, and then we've got kids in high school that are going to be moving off to college and stuff, so maybe that will make some changes. And I mean, I have every desire to be with my husband. I just sometimes think that my body doesn't know that,
Yeah.
and maybe figure out the best way to support.
Evidently, we need to go to the gym more.
That is definitely a thing.
Yeah.
For me,
Bring a
sometimes also, when I know that, it's been a couple days and I'm like, oh, he probably wants sex. I want that connection with him. So I will say, hey, you want to go upstairs? And we lay there, in our foreplay these days is we just lay there and talk for like 15 or 20 minutes.
Oh, before
then,
the sex.
Then we,
Oh my God,
Go.
that's actually
That's
really
nice.
beautiful.
Yeah, I don't actually
My
wanna talk
husband
to
is so
Gary.
sick of my voice. That's
Yeah, I don't want to talk to Gary either.
We do all of our talking on walks. We take long walks.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah.
Paula, how about you? What's your takeaway today?
My takeaway today is I probably am neglecting my husband a little bit because I am old school and I wait for his advances, and maybe I should take a little bit more ownership of my own sexuality
Yeah.
because I do desire it. I still look at him and I'm like, God, he's such a good kisser.
Honestly, just close your eyes and listen to his voice.
Yeah, his
Gary's
voice is amazing. So I just want him to talk. Been married 35 years. I'm not going anywhere. And I do love my husband. I love the life we've created. Do I wish it was a little bit more romantic? Because I watch you and Bob and you guys get out of the car and the first thing you do is grab hands. Gary's never been that person. And sometimes
Yeah.
I'll sit there and I'll watch him walk into a restaurant and I'm sitting there and I'm like punching him, like going, look at him. He's so sweet.
but he's picked out that restaurant. He knows how to get to that restaurant. My husband has no idea where we're going.
So yeah, I need
Well,
to be
I mean,
less
there's
critical.
different- yeah,
I need to be
there's-
less critical.
Like
Right.
if you have
There's-
a weekend, you spend a weekend with Gary and Paula, Gary has it planned out.
yeah,
yeah.
I
Where
need to
you're
be less
going, where you're
critical.
staying,
Well, I
what
think
time you're getting up.
We have to know each other's partners. So years ago, somebody introduced me to the 5 love languages, and I'm definitely a services person, and I'm also a gift giver because I'm not a physical touch person, but my husband is. As some of you know, my husband bought. Well, we decided to change our furniture in our house, which I had resisted for many years because I hate that lazy boys recliner, ugly ass shit. But here it is in my house, and he insisted on this love seat because he wanted to be able to hold my hand.
My husband got us a size and a half chair so that we could sit together.
Yes.
Oh my God.
So my husband is a physical touch person. So, at the end of the day, I'm not. I'm literally forget to hug people. Like I walk up to my best friends and like they're like reaching for a hug, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's what people do. Thank God, Paula, you are not a physical touch person.
Yeah.
But I would say I think that I know that I'm very, very lucky. My husband is my best friend, and my family reminds me he's the only person in the absolute world who would ever put up with my shit. But at the end of the day, my husband, I am a very strong, independent woman, but sometimes I don't want to do anything. And my husband does the lawn. He sometimes cooks. He does all the finances. He takes the trash out. And you know what? That's his fucking gender role.
Can you go home and just melt
Sometimes.
and just let it all go and just let him take over? No.
No, I actually want him.
Exactly.
No. In the sex realm, I actually want my husband to fuck me up. I want to let go. I want him to take control. I want to be absolutely dominated. Yeah. Because my life is chaos and I want somebody to show me that I am not in charge. And I love that. And he knows how to do that. I'm very thankful for that. But it's 28 years of us figuring that out. Some women do not own their confidence. I don't think I own my confidence. I think I own I don't give it. I got no fucks to give. I don't think that I walk around caring what anyone else thinks. I generally don't. I wish more women were like that. I think that it's interpreted as confidence. But I do think it's my husband. Like, he's in the background and my intelligence I've never questioned at all. My
Nobody
looks,
can.
Thank you.
Because you are the smartest woman I know.
She says that all the time is bullshit. But whatever.
Well, she's told me too.
So
Yeah.
recently, some stuff's come on with my daughters and her volleyball team, and I've been very clear with my daughters for years and years and years. There is somebody smarter than you. There is somebody prettier than you. There is somebody who is more athletic, better at sports, better at piano. Who knows? There is always somebody better than you, because that one year that you are the best, you're the gold Olympic winner, the next year you're not. At the end of the day, we are never, ever consistently the best at what we do, no matter what. So if you are constantly competing with the person next to you, then you are not focused on yourself, and you are too busy putting your energy where it doesn't need to be. Your energy needs to be at you and where you are. And you need to be the best self that you are at that point, because if you're too worried about that person's better than me, oh, now they're better, oh, now they're better, you are too busy being focused on all that other bullshit. And that's why when I don't walk around with confidence that I am the smartest, the prettiest, the best, I am the safest, I am the best injector, I am the best anesthetist, because guess what? I'm only as good as my last injection. I'm only as good as my last anesthetic. I'm only as good as the last time I fucked my husband. Let's be honest. I'm not the best every single time. But as long as the people who know me for my best overall are continuing to support me, that is what matters. So I'm going to continue to be the best me overall. I'm going to focus on me, and however Paula thinks I'm the smartest, God bless her. I've met the smartest. I promise you I'm not. Elon Musk could probably wipe the floor with me. But let's be honest, in a picture, I'm definitely prettier. But at the end of the day, that's what matters. And I try to get my daughters to focus on themselves and moving forward. So when it comes to sexuality, no matter what phase you're at, maybe the horniest, maybe your husband's the horniest, maybe you're the horniest, maybe your best friend is the horniest. At the
Jen.
maybe she's getting the best sex of her life.
Jen.
But at the end of the day, if Jen is getting the
applaud
best
that
sex
for
of her
her.
life, she has taken ownership of it. She's expected it. She's focused on what's important to her, and she's making sure she gets it. So at the end of the day, focus on yourself. Focus on if vagina is dry, get the lube. If you're not getting an orgasm, give yourself the orgasm. If your husband is, wanting the sex, give him the sex. And guess what? Next time, maybe you want the sex and he's going to give you the sex. So let's focus on ourselves. Let's focus on making sure we get what we need. And, whether you got the hair that's distracting your husband, it's not. It's not.
And ladies, I want to say this is the best shift talk that I've had. And I love you all. And this was fun.
This is
It was
fun.
a good time.
It
Yeah,
was fun.
good time. Well, this has been another episode of The Shift Talk. Whether you're horny or hot flashing, I hope that you have learned something today. I thank you for all my guests for showing up today, drinking wine or not, and talking about your very private moments. I appreciate all of your take, and I hope that others have learned something today and that you'll tune in for next time.